Unfortunately, there's not a lot of stations like us. KOUJ is all over the place, not just in Oklahoma, nationwide. The Christian rock scene was practically dead when we first started. Almost every day now, I get requests from bands wanting to come play.
My show started February 12th of last year. A little over a year into it.
KOUJ commercial, take one, Stevie B.
KOUJ 1071, KJ.org, the Rock of Salvation Station.
You put your hope into me, well mine was faded. You keep pushing me, you keep pushing me.
Oh, okay, the backstage show. I love the backstage show. To be serious. Each and every week we interview artists from around the world. When I interview bands, I totally blow them out because we start talking about their faith. It's like, I know about your music, but tell me your Jesus moment.
I know our message is getting out there with what we do. North Carolina, California, up in Oregon, you know. Anytime we go to a concert, they tell us, you know, we see you guys everywhere. I am the station manager for 107.1 KOUJ. I pretty much run everything about the station.
This is the Rock of Salvation Station. You're hanging backstage with CBB. Coming up this hour, have the Ignition Calgary Zillage, and right now it is the Protest with Freak Show.
Make sure all the music's in. I put in the new music that we get.
Well, that's what it is. You know, it's the alternative to what the world has.
Not only do we have Christian rock, we got Bible teachings.
We're up for a couple awards through the Spin Award, Radio Station of the Year and Broadcaster of the Year.
And then, of course, June 1st, KOUJ's Block Party.
We just had a block party all day festival here with the heavy bands.
It was a big event. You know, we had over 300 people there.
People driving by, they just couldn't believe that this was Christian music. Because if you hear the beat, the guitars, the rock, the screaming, you get drawn toward it. But when you start hearing the lyrics, you start to feel it inside.
I had several people tell me afterwards, you know, that, man, I needed this tonight.
And that's how people's lives have changed. We'll never change anybody with what we say. We'll change people's lives by what we do.
Music plus all the testimonies that we had at our block party was awesome.
Thank you. I am your host, Pastor Jim Lawrence. Back to you live from 107.1 KOUJ FM here in Norman, Oklahoma, and it's great that you're with us today.
Pastor Jim, the pastor here at Calvary Chapel Norman, he's the one that had the original vision for the radio station. Prayed about it, God answered, told him yes, go ahead and do it. Once he petitioned the FCC, it took several years for him to give him a response. By God's grace, you know, and him providing, we provided all the money we needed in less than a month to start the radio station. And that's kind of how KOUJ came about.
A lot of kids that listens to the Christian rock or whatever are the kids that are cutting themselves or turn into alcohol, turn into drugs. And so they need to know that there's a God that loves them just as they are.
I hear testimonies like that all the time.
This girl had been up all night on acid. She had a baby with her. She was scared, alone, and was going in and out of her trip. So she called me, was like, I don't know who to talk to, but I knew somebody had told me about the station and there's Christians there. So my whole show, I was doing a show with mic here, phone here, and I talked to her that whole show through till she was sober enough to be there with her child and come out of it.
We were doing a benefit concert. I had a guy just come up to me and we started talking, and he started telling me that he was planning on ending his life one night while at work, and he just happened to come across our station. He said that just listening to the music, he just had a heart change. You know, he didn't feel like that after a while.
When music is not, that style of music's not allowed in church or even with the world, well, those kids get left out, even adults. So where do they turn to? And that's what KOUJ is, the ministry of going after the one instead of the 99, because the 99's flooded with all the hill songs and everything.
KJ 107.1 FM, KJ.org. It is the top 10 countdown.
We pray before the show, and one of my prayers is, God, if there's anybody out there that's hurting, anybody needs to feel something, let us be the hands and feet, and you use our voice over the airways to minister to that person.
I say the powerhouse that is known as Skillet is going to take the #1 spot, but Doc over there, on the other hand, he's a Demon Hunter fan, folks. Well, let me ask you this. Are you going to get a Demon Hunter tattoo? Are you going to be one of those guys?
I don't think I'm that big of a fan. I've got a kind of a certain...
Dude, you got an open spot right there. Yeah, although you're not a true Demon Hunter fan until you get the Demon Hunter head tattoo.
Yeah, I love you guys, Demon Hunter, but that's not happening.
You're not going to get the Demon Hunter tattoo?
No, probably not.
I didn't even know this station exists, and I live just right down the street from it. But I was tagged in a post about a band gonna be playing here, and so I was like, 107.1, I've never heard this station, and I know pretty much every station around. And so I tuned into it, and it was playing the rock, and that's when I called Doc, and I was like, hey, I did radio before. I was with KF for 10 years, so what do you got going there? And they told me the vision is to play just Christian rock music, and not Christian rock newsboys, but Christian rock disciple, Christian rock disciple down, real Christian rock music, 7 Day Slumber. And I was like, oh man, I gotta be a part of this, because this is, as I thought of me as a kid, this would be the kind of station I'd be drawn toward. That led into the ministry that I do now with KOUJ.
I've grown up a rocker. My parents listened to the classic rock and roll. I started having back pain in my back. I was a motorcycle mechanic before radio, and it just would not go away, and it slowly kept getting worse. They tried to treat me, of course, doctors tried to treat me with muscle relaxers, anti-inflammatories, that kind of stuff. That wasn't helping at all. It just kept getting worse to the point that I really couldn't work on motorcycles hardly anymore. You know, it was just pain was getting bad. I started fracturing vertebrae in my back. And they came in and told me that I had cancer, that it had grown through my spine and in my ribs of my back. They, of course, cut me open. They took out as much of the tumor as they could. Then they pieced back together my vertebrae with bone cement. Then, of course, I've got all the screws and hardware in my back, plus I've got 4 rods in my back now because of that surgery. Then I had to go through 6 rounds of chemo. Yeah, I did find peace and comfort in music during the whole cancer run. I would literally sit there in the hospital bed, because I was there for a week or so, you know, just streaming our radio station. The rock was awesome, and I was being ministered with that, but I also got to hear the Word of God. About that time, that's kind of when I really needed it. You know, I needed God talking to me, you know, and He did. He gave me comfort about it. You know, I wasn't worried about anything at all through it. You know, He gave me the mindset of, I'm either going to be healed here or I'm going to be healed in heaven. Made it out. Worst thing about it, I think, was I lost my beard. You know, that was horrible. Stevie B came aboard earlier, and all the other guys, and the rest is history, and here we are.
Knowing when I come up here, when I go on that mic, it's not about me. It's not Steve Burton. But that's when Stevie B comes alive and the ministry goes through, because then it's about, okay, God, do you. I will step aside, you do you. And that's how we change. The legacy is not what we've done today, but what we set up for tomorrow. Because we will be here and gone, but the ministry will live on. So what we're setting up today is for the next generation.
Because God has a plan, He has a purpose, He has a call in your life. There is a reason that you are here on this earth, because I'm just going to be honest with y'all in this crowd tonight are the real rock stars.
you're not serving it, if you're not serving to glorify God or helping His people, then what are you doing?
That one person, that kid that has ran out of church because he dresses goth or he's in the metal. He runs out of church and never gives his life back to Christ. But he listens to this music, finds out about us. See, it's not just his life that's saved, but it's his kids and their kids.
I'm just a step away, I'm just a breath away, losing my faith today. Falling off the edge today. I am just a man, not superhuman. I'm not superhuman. Someone save me from the haze. It's just another war, just another family torn. From my feet today. Just a step on the edge, just another day in the world we live. I need a hero to save me now. I need a hero. I need a hero to save my life. A hero will save me. I've gotta fight today to live another day. Speaking my mind today. My voice will be heard today. I've gotta make a stand, but I am just a man. I'm not superhuman. My voice will be heard today. It's just another war, just another family torn. My voice will be heard today. It's just another kid.